You are 22, and you are hiding in your own childhood bedroom, in your parents' house, where you still live. You sit on the edge of a small bed with a faded sticker on the headboard. Your phone lies flat on your knee. You are listening to your father move around in the hallway. He walks past the door. You do not come out. He walks past again. You still do not come out. Downstairs, he tells your mother that you can afford it. Not asking, telling. $4,000, a transmission. You come down. You say yes before he finishes the sentence. He pats your shoulder twice and looks at the wall. This is the fourth time this year, and all four of them come from one sentence said at that kitchen table. Between the mashed potatoes and the green beans, you told your parents what you make. But to understand how a sentence turns into a transmission, we have to go back to the beginning. Level 1. The number. Before any of this, you make $11 an hour moving boxes in a warehouse. Nobody asks you for anything. Nobody can. Your mother packs you a lunch in a paper bag and puts it by the door. Your father tells you to get the oil changed on the car he bought you in high school. At 21, you are, financially speaking, a piece of furniture in that house. Everybody is comfortable. Then in March, you buy a pressure washer. $400, secondhand, from a man in a parking lot. You lift it into the trunk of your car yourself. You start doing driveways on Saturdays. The first one is your neighbor's, and you charge him $30 because you were too embarrassed to say $90. He tips you $10 and tells you to raise your prices. $90 a driveway, then 2 driveways, then 4. You print flyers at the public library and stack them on the passenger seat. You stand in a stranger's driveway in soaked sneakers holding the wand. 20 years of gray comes off the concrete in one clean line, and something in your chest goes very quiet. You buy a second wand, then a trailer, then a magnetic sign for the truck door. You spell your own name wrong on the first batch of flyers and print 200 of them anyway. By December, you are running it full time. $41,392 a year, almost exactly the American median for your age, which makes you, statistically, the most ordinary employed 22-year-old in the country. It does not feel ordinary. You sit in your truck in your parents' driveway for 11 minutes doing nothing. Both hands on the wheel, grinning at the windshield like an idiot. Then you go inside for dinner, and you wait. You wait through the weather report on the television. You wait through your sister Kayla explaining a group project she did entirely alone. Then your mom asks how the business is going. And you have been holding this in your mouth for 6 days. Good, you say. Really good, actually. 41-4. Your father puts his fork down. Not slams, puts. A year? A year. Huh, he says. And then, into his plate, that's more than me. Nobody says anything for 4 seconds. Kayla, who is 13, does not lift her head. Is that a lot? It's fine, says your mom. It's more than me, says your dad again, to nobody. You go up to your room feeling enormous, and you fall asleep smiling. And you do not notice that the temperature in that house dropped 1 degree while you were talking. Level 2, the small ones. It starts so small, you would feel insane objecting to it. Tuesday, your mother mentions that the grocery bill has gotten crazy, not as a question, in the tone of a woman who is not asking one. You hand her $40 at the front door. She takes it without breaking eye contact. Thank you, honey, she says, in a voice that has already spent it. Friday, your father needs gas money for the truck he uses to help you load equipment on Saturdays, which is true, and which he has never mentioned before. The next week, it is the phone bill, because you are on the family plan anyway. Then the water heater, because you take the longest showers. Then your mother volunteers you to pressure wash your aunt's patio, for free, on a Sunday. You find out when your aunt texts you asking what time you are coming. Then $80 for a nephew's birthday present, a present you will never see, for a party you were not invited to. Every single one of these is small. That is the design. Nobody can refuse $40 without becoming, in that kitchen, the guy who refused his mother $40. Your uncle sends you a photograph of a boat. No message, just a boat. You do not answer. He sends the same photograph again 11 days later. You start leaving your phone face down on tables, which is a thing you never used to do. Then there is the Sunday at the diner. The check lands in the middle of the table, and something happens that you will watch 400 more times in your life. Everybody finds something else to look at. Your father studies the ceiling tiles. Your mother searches the inside of her purse. Kayla, who is 13 and owns nothing, stares at the check like she is doing calculus. You reach for it. Your father half reaches 3 seconds later from the wrong side of the table, from an angle that could not possibly have arrived first. I got it. Thanks, bud. And something in the room moves another degree. By August, you are covering $600 a month of a household you do not own, in $40 and $60 and $80 pieces, and nobody has once asked you a question with a question mark at the end of it. Level 3. Under my roof. In September, your father decides that you should be contributing. He does not say rent, he says contributing. $600 a month, a number he arrived at by looking at nothing except your number. You point out, carefully, that you already pay the phone bill, and the water heater, and most of the groceries, and the internet. You have the receipts on your phone. You actually scroll to them. He does not look at the phone. You live under my roof, he says. You eat my food. You park in my driveway. And there it is, the oldest sentence in the American house. It is not an argument. It is a door closing. So you pay the $600 on top of everything else, in the house where your childhood bed still has a sticker on the headboard. And things start happening that have nothing to do with money. Your mother comments on what time you came in last night. Your father asks where you were, in a tone he has not used since you were 17. You run a business with 2 employees and a commercial account, and you are being asked whether you ate before you got home. Your mother throws out a jacket of yours because it was on the back of a chair. Your father tells you to move your truck because he does not like where it is parked. It is parked in front of the house. There is nowhere else it could go. The pressure washer lives in the garage. One Saturday you come out and your father has moved it because he needed the space. He does not mention it. You stand in the garage for a while, looking at the empty patch of floor. That night, you sit on the edge of the bed and do math you have never done before. Not this month's math, the whole thing. And you understand something that takes most people another 10 years. The house was never free. You were just paying for it in a currency nobody itemizes. Level 4. The ask. April. Gary's transmission goes. He does not ask you. That is the part that gets you. He tells your mother. Your mother tells you in the kitchen, facing the sink, which is how the important things get said in that house. Then he calls you from the driveway, even though you are both in the same building. How's the truck, you say, because you already know. She's got a transmission thing. How bad? It's a transmission. Dad, how bad? $4,000, give or take. And then he does the worst thing he has ever done to you, which is nothing at all. He waits. He does not ask. He lets the number sit in the silence and do the asking for him. So you say it for him. I can cover it. Well, he says, you're the one with the money. Not thank you, not I appreciate it. You're the one with the money. Said the way you would explain why the tall person gets the box off the top shelf. You send the $4,000 that night from a folding chair in the garage, the only room in that house where nobody comes to find you. The next morning, there is a new coffee maker on the counter. Nobody mentions it. Your mother makes you a cup and says the old one was on its last legs anyway. You drink the coffee. It is very good coffee. It makes a small, satisfied noise when it finishes, like it is pleased with itself. You read the price off the box while she is not looking. $190. And you say nothing. Because there is no version of that sentence that does not make you the bad guy in your own kitchen. A week later, you stand in the driveway while he backs the repaired truck out. He gives you the 2-fingered wave he gives the mailman, and it lands somewhere you were not braced for. You cannot remember the last time your father asked you a question that was not about money. 2 years ago, he asked whether you were sleeping enough. He has not asked since. Level 5. The no. June. Your mother asks for $9,000, not for an emergency, for a kitchen, new cabinets, new counters, the one she has been sending you photographs of for 5 weeks, never once with a sentence attached. And for the first time in 2 years, you say the word, no. It comes out quieter than you planned. You are holding a coffee cup and you put it down because your hand is doing something embarrassing. Your mother sets down the dish towel, very slowly, like a woman putting down a weapon so she can pick up a better one. Excuse me? I said no. I don't have $9,000 for cabinets. You have a business. I have a business with $3,000 in it and a truck payment. And your father comes in from the hallway where he has clearly been standing, and he says the sentence you have been waiting 8 months to hear out loud. As long as you live under my roof, you don't tell me no. You are 22 years old. You are standing in a kitchen you have paid for 4 times over, being told you do not have the standing to decline. Nobody shouts. That is what makes it bad. Your mother tells you that you have changed since the money. Your father tells you he worked 30 years and never asked his own father for anything, which is true, which is not the point, and which you do not say out loud. Kayla stands in the doorway with a bowl of cereal, watching all 3 of you. She does not eat a single bite of it. Then your father says one word, unbelievable. And he goes out to the garage, and the door does not slam. It closes, which is worse. You go upstairs. You sit on the edge of the bed you have slept in since you were 9, and you open your phone, and you do not open the banking app. You open the apartment listings. Level 6, the door. You move out on a Saturday in October, the only day you do not work. It takes 4 hours. It takes 4 hours because you own almost nothing. A mattress, 2 lamps, a pressure washer, and 11 boxes, 3 of which are only cables you will never identify. Your father helps you carry the mattress down the stairs. Neither of you says anything the entire way down. At the truck, he holds the door open. You got it? Yeah. And that is the whole conversation. And somehow, it is not a bad one. Your mother stands on the porch with her arms folded. Not because she is angry, because it is October and she came out without a coat. The apartment is $900 a month. The radiator makes a sound like a man clearing his throat. You buy 1 chair at a thrift store for $11 and carry it home on your shoulder. The first night, you eat standing up over the sink anyway, because the chair is in the other room. You wash 1 plate, 1 fork, 1 glass, and set them on a towel to dry. And you sit down on the mattress at 11 at night, in a room with nothing on the walls, and you feel it. Not triumph, quiet. Nobody in this building knows what you make. Nobody is going to comment on what time you came in. Nobody is going to move your equipment because they needed the space. You will be asked exactly 0 questions tonight. And that is the most expensive thing you have ever bought. Here is what surprises people. You keep helping them. You pay the phone bill because you actually are on the family plan. When the water heater goes in February, you cover half without being asked. You still show up on Sundays. You still pick up the check at the diner. And your father still half reaches 3 seconds too late. And you have made a private peace with that. The difference is that now it is a decision. It comes from a man with his own address, and it can be no. In November, your father calls. He talks about the weather for a while. Then he asks whether you are eating properly in that apartment and whether you are sleeping enough. You stand in your own kitchen holding the phone, looking at a wall you painted yourself, and it takes you a second to answer, because it is the first question he has asked you in 2 years, the first one that does not have a number in it.